Uncharted space, far side of the Milky Way? 4217. Ironically, it was his cyber arm that woke Max from a deep and dreamless sleep.
What the hell? Where the devil is the crew?
Maximus Mercurio wiped a mass of blood and grime from his face, orienting himself in the steaming gangway of the fighter bomber. He found himself lying on a wall. The bomber's gravity bubble was off. There was, however, gravity, a rolling pull that pinned him hard to the gangway, 1.5 meters off the floor. A gravity well, he thought.
What the hell? Where the devil is the crew?
His compact round face glaring around in sudden understanding of danger. A gravity well would mean a world or worse. He gathered his senses. There was a streaming sound against the hull, a decaying orbit, thick air, heavy gravity, a gas giant. Springing to his feet, he steamrolled toward the cockpit. His mind careened with the sudden rocking and shaking of the vessel. With each piston step, he assessed his situation. The gravity bubble was off, thus it was only a matter of time before the pressures outside burned the ship up, crushed them, and sank them in a stream of metallic hydrogen deep in the planet's innards. Something had knocked him on his petard and cut his face open, rendering him unconscious. He had no memory of the event. Where the devil is the crew? Rat-chewing, worm-worshipping refugees. But someone's going to pay with black and blue booty. He balled his fists up and looked this way and that. The floor was now a wall to his left. He cursed in 3 languages and continued down the gangway, avoiding swinging hatches. Who unlocked all the hatch doors? Atmospherics were shot. Steam was blasting everywhere. Nobody was at the helm. Something had happened. Something bad. There was a gutted corpse twisted on the floor in front of him. He made his way toward the piloting cabin. Uh-oh. Won't be paying any booty. Mercurio paused, put his back against plasticine. He pulled out his disser, kept moving. There came a groan of metal fatigue from the ship's hull. Ship's sinking fast. The piloting cabin wasn't empty. Beatrice Allfire, his first officer who had saved his life in the Bowel War, lay on the floor. She had died at her post. He went to her and held her. Faithful unto death, he glared at the room suspiciously with a sharp challenge, but there were no takers. All the rats have jumped ship, and I'm going to Davy Jones's locker like a water ship made of cast iron. He slipped on the piloting helmet and merged into the ship's sensors. The merge helmet replaced his sensations and perceptions with the neural net of the starcraft. Where the devil is the crew? Lightning, miles of it, a sea of lightning shuddering in titanic waves and streams, broken by radio storms in sheer walls like mountains, twirling in the far distance, flanked by cliffs of cumulonimbus thunderheads. Falls of super-dense helium glimmered from horizon to horizon, sweeping down to lower layers of the gas giant's atmosphere. His fighter was being swept through the torrent of atmospheric currents with increasing speed. The control and power systems had been shut down. He reactivated them and watched as dozens of programs flashed to life. The fighter bomber's gravity bubble eased into being, braking his descent. Atmospherics, hull nano repair programs, drive systems, then navigationals, all systems returning to normalcy. The fighter made upwards, away from the maddening pressures. This deep in the planet's atmosphere, he was blind. He could be anywhere. Slowly, he gained ever more altitude. The ship's senses were starting to perceive things above the dense layers of hydrogen, helium, and lighting storms. Quasars, the galactic plume. He was somewhere in uncharted space on the far side of the galactic core. The ship wouldn't have just powered down. There were protocols and sequences. Someone had turned it off and left him lying in it, dazed and blooded, falling to an ignoble and unknowable fate. Why hadn't they just killed him? Seas of ball lightning coalesced below him as the planet shrunk away in maddening slowness. The fighter's programs continued to reboot. The seas were the swirling of a Jovian stratosphere now. Above him, the teeming stars and plasma of the atomic clouds roared their fury. The galactic plume showed high. It was giving him the finger. You too, you wicked wench. No sign of the crew. Abandoned ship? Somebody wanted him dead. And this ship lost. No, not lost. eviscerated back into its primal elements like a thing returned to nature, so rarefied that nothing could ever be found of it. It was like a demon of undoing had carefully unraveled its elements and cast them into a six-dimensional drain. Maximus frowned. Where the devil had that thought come from? There would be booty to pay, but who? Who would dare betray him? Not the gutted corpse in the gangway. That was a self-inflicted wound. Rather than comply with the betrayers, that one had gone down at his hand. No more Ray. Good man, have to be buried with honors when Max winced back to where? Who am I? I'm Maximus Mercurio. 200 pounds of an unforgiving, death-dealing, payback-getting, golden-horned hellcat. Loyal unto death to Harold Stark. Warlord extraordinaire, Don of the Dark Corps, and Avenger of the King. Never forgive. Never forget. Gangsters, thugs, and smugglers, privateers, if you will, not one to be stilettoed in the solar plexus. No wonder they had to get rid of the body, but why hadn't they offed him? Time? What would be their hurry out here in the big bad boonies? Or had they just gone yellow when the time for the dirty deed was done? Perhaps they wanted him to wake, dazed and amazed, as the fighter imploded in the frozen metallic hydrogen. Having his last thoughts go, "Drat, I've been boons waggled," Maximus sneered. No one in the Dark Corps would do it. There was someone else. Someone they'd come gunning for. Why was he out here anyway? His mind drew a blank. They'd been on a mission, yes. The mission. Reconnaissance. Intelligence. Scouting. Way the hell out here beyond the settled worlds. The mission. Bits and pieces of his memory were flickering, fading into being. It felt as if someone had reached in his brain, using it for an amusement park simulation. Dizzy, convoluted, and about to rupture. Yet the mission parameters started to coalesce in small increments perceptibly. It was an unusual assignment. General Harry Stark only trusted Max, the bulldozer, the golden-horned bulldog. A Cyborgian general had gone rad, slipped the Overlord's command chain, was assembling his alliances to fight some kind of new life form. The Dark Corps of the Pleiades had been given a choice. A smuggler they'd been stalking threw them a twist, dragged half the Cyborgian Air Corps after them, then unexpectedly the general had pivoted, joined the fight, or deal with the authorities. Stark had damn near died laughing. "Sign us up, we'll fight your damn boogeyman." Max had laughed right along. He wasn't laughing now. He scanned the far horizons of his flight path for any evidence of other ships. Fleeing betrayers, scooting back to whatever hovel betraying rat chewers go to. He wasn't surprised to find nothing. Not even an irregular wake in the zero-wave cycle. Zip. He sneered at the magnificent galaxy spread out before him. The billions of stars, the galactic plume, the aurora plasma streaming into the huge void. He slipped out of the merge helmet. The interior of the attack ship hummed back at him, telling nothing. "Okay, you little boneheads. Let's see what old Maximus can discover today." He set about looking for clues at the scene of the crime.
"As you've done unto my men, so will be done unto you."
Every crew member battened down and in combat gear now.